Welcome. In this demo, I want to show you join analysis. Within that, the concept of profiling and creating a model. And then we'll address a scenario, some tips, some questions. But let's get started. I will be using the Informatica developer tool. And so let me go and start it. Notice that on my desktop, I have an icon called DV. You could also put an icon on your desktop, or your administrators or team leaders can. That just makes it easier. Otherwise, I would have to go to Start and find out where my administrators have configured this. Notice it takes a little bit longer, Informatica 9.1. Go to Client, and then eventually you're going to find Developer. There it is. So I just made it easy by putting an icon. Now, which metadata repository am I going to be working in? Well, in this demo, I'll be using the middle one, Services Dev DQ. I will be logging in as IDE01, same password. Let me make sure I can log in. And now I'm ready to start. Let me go back to my notes while it's connecting. The reason I'm saying that I'm using the Informatica developer tool is because that's the official name. However, a lot of us informally call it the DQ developer, data quality developer. Only for those of you that know of Power Center and its interface, don't get confused. So you might hear me call it DQ developer, and this is the same as the Informatica developer, this interface, this GUI. Now, we're going to carry out a join analysis profiling. Why? Why do I want to do this? Well, let's assume that I have three sources: customer shipping, orders, and order details. So I'm a customer, I buy dog food, that will be an order, and then the details of that order will be in order details. What I want to do, and I'm creating an example here, is, well, why don't I join this and create a master file before I start data cleansing it, before I start profiling any further analysis. Perhaps the requirements say, John, go ahead and see if you can create a master source file. Well, I could go ahead and do that, or without analysis, or I could go ahead and analyze this. Can I analyze this? For example, is there a unique primary or foreign key that makes sense? And we can look at customer and orders. Are there any orphans? Can we have orders without customers? Let's look at orders and order details. Same questions. Are orphans allowed? Could we have orders without order details, or order details without orders, or orders and order details without a customer? So those are the kinds of questions that we would like to analyze without just merely assuming that I can get my three sources and join them. So Informatica developer tool provides extremely powerful profiling and discovery tools and modeling. So let's begin. I'm going to work in my project called Demo, and in there, notice that I have various physical data objects. In other demos, I have shown you how to create physical data objects in the Analyst tool. And because we were collaborating, these were created in the Analyst tool, but due to collaboration, I, as a developer, I am able to see them, assuming you have set your permissions and properties correctly. Or I could always go ahead and create my own right from here. But I'm going to reuse these that were created already. And remember what the goal is. The goal is, let me join them. So the real goal is this. Let me create a brand new mapping. And again, the intent of this demo is not to show you how to create a mapping or even really define a mapping. I just want to create a mapping to show you what the data sources are. So I'm going to create this something called Demo 2, and I'm going to call this mapping a customer orders mapping. So there it is. For best practices, I'll put the little m so that you can see m, but since this is a demo, I'll put Demo 2. And there it is, a brand new mapping. But what do I want to do? Well, let me drag and drop customer as I'm going to read from it. And remember, the goal is to join these. But we're going to make a pause because we do want to study and see, is it possible? So I'm going to stretch the customer order so you can see all the ports. I believe that's it. So notice there's a customer ID. And then I'm going to do the same thing for orders because a customer can have orders. And I'm taking the time to stretch this. This will be also reading. And I'm taking the time to stretch this so we can see what I'm trying to analyze. And then the last one is the chow, which is order details. Again, I will read and just align them. Now I'm doing this just for the demo, and here it is. Now what I want to do, what I want to see is in the orders, are there any orphan customer IDs? In other words, somehow did an order get in here without a customer ID? In order details, is there an order number without an order? So we know that I could have customers that do not have orders, right? I could be a customer that did not buy any dog food, but it would be strange if we have orders, say somebody purchased dog food, but there is no customer. So we're trying to create that kind of analysis. Now, you're very smart. You know that you could always run Data Viewer and see the data. So you know from experience using the tool or other demos, you can see the data. We could also go to Profile now, and you can do column profiling as we have done in the Analyst tool, or we can also do in the Developer tool. So this you're probably already familiar with. I go to Results, and you'll see all the columns. Here, I notice that customer ID is 100% unique, but I don't see an order ID number here, but I can see that at least the customer ID is unique. Well, I can go back to my my orders and do the same thing. Here, remember, what I'm trying to analyze let me go to Results. So I see customer ID. I see that customer ID is not unique, 38%. And as you know, this is true. You could have a customer with more than one order. So if on the right-hand side, if I sort them, you'll see that customer 1000007 has 2. That's not a problem. That's allowed, correct? So I can continue this and manually go ahead and profile the rest, and you can perform your own analysis by taking this time. But there is an easier way. That is called join analysis. So I'm going to leave this mapping here. Now remember, the goal is to join this. But simply, I could add a transformation called the joiner, the joiner transformation, and without any further analysis, except for what we've done, go ahead and join them. Any mistakes in the data, just ignore them. But we don't really want to do that. We want to provide a join analysis. So what I'm going to do is begin with customer details. So I'm going under Physical Data Objects, Training, and just to make this demo easier, I'm gonna focus only on orders and order details. So I'm going to see, are there any orphans? Is there anything bad with one of the keys, the order key? I already showed you that the order key for profiling is, I went back to it, is 100% unique for the order. Let me quickly do this for order details. Again, profile it. So I'm going to select the customer order port as the one that I'm interested in to use as a join. 100%. So already I have a feeling that this can be joined. But let's go through the analysis, and I'm choosing orders and order details. We should also include customer shipping, which I will show you towards the end. So what do I need to do? First of all, we know that we want to study order details and order. So what I'm going to do is select order details and click on profile. Notice what comes up. We can do multiple profiles, profile, or the profile model. What we want is the profile model. And at this point, I'm going to give it a name called PM underscore profile. PM for profile model. And I'm going to call this order details. Then I'm going to click next. And notice that here I have order details. But remember, I want to do an analysis with orders. So I'm going to go ahead and select orders. There goes my 2 data sets. If I wanted to do analysis with customer shipping, I could go ahead and do that. And at this moment, I am going to click Finish. So my model, notice at the bottom, the status, it says creating. Don't try to open the profiles until we get a status that it's done. I click on the status bar and I see that it is finished. Great. So there goes my profiling done. I'm just going to delete the statuses there so that we have a clean status. And now what? Well, now I'm pretty much done. Now what I'm going to do is go back. You see under profiles, there goes PM orders. I'm going to open it. Here is a gotcha. It says all objects have been created for the selected resources. In order to view it, you must reconnect. Now, I don't know why we have to do this. The problem is it's not refreshing, so it might just be a feature that we got to do. So how do we disconnect? You select the repository, disconnect. I want to save everything, so yes. And then I merely reconnect, and notice it's connecting again. So exactly where I was, but that is a idiosyncrasy of the software that it forces me to disconnect. Now that I've reconnected, I go back to demo. And now if I look at my profile, PM order details, I will open it. And there it is. So this is the beginning. We're interested in a joint analysis. However, you can see that we could provide relationships analysis, data domains, column profiling, joint analysis, and overlap. So this is important. You know, the relationships displays the groups and relationships, data domains would show me the data domain, etc. Now, column profiles, let me go there first. You're already familiar with this. From prior analysis, you can see that we have order details with the columns and profiling. Well, what's new to us is the joint analysis. So what I want to do here is go ahead and I want to provide a joint analysis. Now notice what we need to do, and follow me here. On the outline at the bottom, notice that I'm going to click right here. Notice that I don't see anything on the upper right. And by the way, some people find this confusing. Okay, so what I want to do is begin the profile analysis. In order to do that, you do have to go to the left bottom pane under profiles, and you select one of the two sources. Here I select another one, and you see that they're being painted on top. So we got to do that. Some people find that confusing. Let me just show you what I did. If I deselect, they disappear. So we're building this joint analysis model here. Now I want to see if there are any orders and order details that are not in the orders. Okay? In other words, do I have orphans? So this is the beginning of the model. Now there's many ways to continue, but let me stop here. Notice that you can click on the plus sign and you have the columns or ports, and here's the model itself, the profile. So here is profile orders, profile. Now I'm going to do it a little bit different. What I'm going to do is select both of them and right mouse click on order details, and here's where I begin my joint profile analysis. I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call it joint analysis. Some people call it JA for shorter, but I'm going to call it joint analysis of, what is it? Order and order details. Now, if I wanted another source, I could always add it, but that's enough for me. That's all I want. And at this moment, you see the columns. And now here's the join condition. So notice, in the join condition, it is up to you to decide the order. I want to see if there's any row, any order number in order details that is not in orders, or different kinds of analysis. So what I'm going to do, I kept order details on the left, and I will select the join column. In my case, it is order number. On the right-hand side, it is order. I will choose order number. Now, we saw from profiling earlier, a few moments ago, that we know that this is going to work out. Let's check it out and see if our primitive analysis is correct based on this more advanced analysis. So I will click Finish, and notice it says first we got to save this, okay. And notice the running status, it's running. We wait until it stops. All right, and now it's done. And we're ready to look at the join results. So what I want to do is click on Join Results, and then I see the Venn diagram. I'm going to come back to this in a moment. However, here's another important tip that where people find the user interface a little bit confusing. Notice on the left bottom where it says Outline, notice that I can go ahead and on the right-hand side click on Properties, and then go back to Orders, and you see under Profiles, here is a list of all your profiles. Okay, so notice, this is tricky. You've got to go to the outline, click on Profiles, make sure that on the bottom right you click Properties, and now on Profiles you see all of them. Now we can run them again. This is where people find it confusing. We could open, we could run, we could even delete them. So if I just wanted to run again, I'll just click on Run Orders. It won't hurt anything. I just want to show you that there's a status window and it says running, and then eventually it'll say success. There it is, and completed. So be aware of that. That's really your main, I hate to use the word, your main dashboard, your main utility where you can see all the profiles. Again, I repeat, some users find this a little bit confusing to get there. All right, so let's go back to the task at hand. Remember those Venn diagrams? I go to Results, and I go to Join. Oops, where was I? Here it is. I lost my point. So I was already in the results. This is it. You tell me by looking at this Venn diagram. Notice there is no overlap. There's no intersection. It is 100% on top of each other. Orange, blue. Orange is order details. Bluish cyan orders. And look what it says. It says for order details, 0% orphans, 100% join. This is good. In this case, it means that every order detail, order number, has a corresponding at least one order in orders. So this is good. I could join these. If you want to see the details, you can double click and notice it's drilling into the data, and you can confirm the results. There are no orphans. Okay. Now, what could I do now? Well, if you want to share this with someone, you could export the results. Notice you can export, select the file and export, and you can drill down to do the results. So this is good. This is good. Let me close this down. Okay. And let me go show you what about customer and orders. So let me go to a model that I've already created. Here is customer orders. And here it is. And what I want to do is go to Join, and I want to go ahead and look at the results. Where are you? Let me just go to Profiles here, as I showed you before, and go to Profiles. And I want to do the join analysis profiles. I've already run this, so all I need is to open them and go to Results, click on it. Look what happens if I consider orders and customer shipping. Orders, and customer. There are some orphans. Notice customer shipping. There are 8 customers that are not in the orders. Is that a problem? Could I have customers? For example, could you be a customer but you don't have an order? That is legitimate. If we want it, we can click on customer and drill down. But let's take a look at the other question. I have orders and 0% orphan. This is good. That means if I had any customer, any order, that they would have a customer. So what this really shows is that I have some customers that do not have orders. That's quite legitimate. If I double click on the blue diagram, I can see those, and you have 8, and these are customers that don't have orders. Again, you can export these, and if this had been a problem, you can export them, email them to the data steward, and have them analyze and say, why do we have this condition? Okay, so at the moment, that concludes the joint analysis demo, and I think we've done a good job. Now, what was that useful for? Now I can go back to my mapping. Remember my beautiful mapping that I had here, and now I feel more confident that, let me iconize this. Now I can feel more happy and confident that in fact I could go ahead and join this. I'm not going to finish the mapping. That's a separate demo. But now I feel confident that I have a good structure, a good data, and I can join them. So we've looked at them, answered, and notice some of the things. Tip, if we do all this work, all this analysis, could we carry this over to defining the target data model? Well, in fact, yes. Since we've already cleaned up, let's assume we had problems with the keys and went further analysis. After cleanup, we could potentially have a very good target data model. And remember the last tip here, strange, but you have to disconnect from the metadata repository and reconnect when you save a profile. That's just the idiosyncrasy. So thank you so much, and that was our nice demo on performing join analysis. Thank you.